times are old, in times of new, there's a guide to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture feel, and you
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and pop culture, if you can believe it. I'm Israel Wright, one of your hosts. It's good to be back with you. With me, as always.
Thank you, Israel. What's going on, folks? Thank you for joining us right from your driver's side of your car. My name is Cameron Fath, and today we have a very special episode.
No beta male passengers in this spot.
No beta male passengers.
All drivers.
All drivers, all alpha drivers. But today we're super excited because we're joined by a very special guest. And honestly, a long time coming. Israel, you want to do a quick introduction for our friend here?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching us on the Gameology channel, breaking down video games for any length of time, you've probably seen our guest, Richard Maynes. He is the sniper in those videos. So you can go check that out so you can know what he looks like. Or come over to our YouTube channel, actually, to see what he looks like. That's a better idea, to come to our YouTube channel. Gameology has enough views. I just ruined our relationship with Gameology just now. Richard, thank you for joining us today on this very special sniper episode. Give us a little bit of your bio. Say whatever it is you want to say about yourself.
Man, guys, it is a pleasure to be here today.
You're from the West. You're from the Old West, man. You sound like John Wayne from True Grit.
That's good. Yeah, it is a pleasure to be here, guys. And I've got 9 years active duty military service, 6 years in the sniper sections, 3 combat tours, and 2 years doing diplomatic security. And again, it's a pleasure to meet you guys.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Like I said, long time coming. It's weird. We had the martial artist on, Noah, and I love bringing on the Gameology guests just because we all know about each other.
Yeah.
And
it's an easy connection.
It's an easy connection because, like, hey, you're at Gameology. Oh, yeah, you're at Gameology. You want to be on this podcast? Yeah, you want to be on my podcast? Yeah, that's great. It's awesome to have you here. It's nice to finally meet you and shake your hand. And I'm excited to see what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, me too, man. Looking forward to it.
Do you do you do podcasts? What are you doing with yourself these days?
You know what? I kind of just roam. I roam around.
I've seen your Instagram. I know you're on the desert running around
the place, But my biggest thing is I do a lot of clinical massage, kind of find my little peace, my balance in life,
Oh, cool, man.
So like I said, you got to have peace, and then there's got to be violence. So I'm trained for the violence, and then I dig in my peace with good clinical massage helping others.
Yeah, sometimes
really
you have
funny
to.
is because, and my buddy will appreciate this. My section leader, he's kind of like you. You guys are very spiritual, like super. It's weird. Every sniper that I've met has deployed and gone and done the job, comes back and they're super like very zen.
Yeah,
very spiritual.
For me, I feel like these hands, and this mind. I was trained to take lives or to have violence, and I can train myself to have peace, instead, and take that further in helping a lot of people. It helps me a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
So would you consider all that your passions in life now?
Yeah, health and fitness.
And fitness.
Yeah, everything holistic. I'm attuned with.
Where can people find you? Let's get this out at the beginning in case people leave partway through the ending. But where can people find you if they want to follow you on like any social media or anything like that?
No, I don't really. Don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I'm not technically sound, but I am on IG, so you can find me on Richard_Romes82, and just go ahead and add me, and let's shoot the shit.
Yeah, cool, man. That's nice.
Speaking of shooting the shit,
hey, good
that's
segue.
what we're going to be talking about today, right? Snipers. It's a very famous, very iconic weapon system in the military, in pop culture. I mean, we have movies like Shooter, the original Sniper, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Would you explain a little? Did you have any motivation going into the sniper section? Was it influenced by pop culture, or you were just offered it and you took it? What's the story?
All right, so my story behind it is my dad was a Marine Corps scout sniper in Vietnam. So that's kind of followed me along. I was hearing all his stories and things. So for a lot of years, that's been in my mind. I wanted to go Marine Corps, and They wouldn't take me though back in the day.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah, I was a
That's
high
surprising.
school dropout and all kinds of things. You know?
Those
Like,
make the best
the
Marines.
army will take you. And I'm like, all right, army it is. You know? But yeah, and then as a kid, you know, I grew up for a short time in New Mexico, so I was hunting rabbits and I was killing them and eating them and things like that.
Wow.
So I realized like I could shoot, you know, I could shoot, and yeah, it followed me along into my military career, and finally had the opportunity after my first deployment to join the section, and that's where I went from there.
Oh,
That's cool, man. I don't come from a military family, so it's hard for me to be like, yeah, my papa was like that. See, my dad's a hairdresser, so
You come
I'm
from like an
so that's
artistic
why
family,
my-
man.
So
That's
that's yeah. My
crazy.
mom's like she was a fashion designer, and then my dad is a rock star and he's a musician. He used to be in like this German rock band. It's funny, and then he's a hairstylist, so it's like I'm more creatively sound. But it shocked my family when I wanted to join the military, and it was from
And
a
then
very
go Ranger on top.
Yeah,
of
literally.
Yeah, you
I'm-
really went army.
yeah,
Yeah.
really. I went full green.
Damn, that's
But
crazy.
dude, that's super awesome. It's kind of interesting to see like the family dynamic from it, because you got big shoes to fill.
Oh
Especially-
yeah. Oh yeah. And wasn't my dad was never really like big into like, you know, pressing the military
Oh, yeah.
and anything. He would just, you know, tell me the stories and things, and but internally I'm always like, dang, I want to do that. I want to go to war, you know? Like, because when you're young, you know, you just don't realize what war encompasses.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, so
it's all the glorified.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
all the stuff,
All
you
the pop
see on
culture
TV.
references, yeah.
That's it.
What kind of? So we've got a couple questions. What kind of? When you were in the sniper section, what was your rifle? What was
So
the
I
issue?
had just an M24, which is the modified Remington 700.
Okay.
7.62, carried 5 rounds, bolt action weapon, just very basic.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Okay, but let's talk time frame. When were you in?
Oh right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
just so we can match,
I
because
was
nowadays.
from 2002 to 2011,
Okay.
and when I joined the sniper section was in 2005.
Okay, right.
Nice. It's funny because that 2005 is the year that I joined the military.
Wow.
You were in longer than I got in and out by the time you were still in. You
Still
know.
doing
Damn,
time, yeah.
That's interesting, because looking at, I'm in a sniper section and a recon section now, and like in terms of just the equipment we have, it's almost made it foolproof if everything is properly utilized. Looking back to dudes that had to go through sniper school back in the early 2000s or even before the M24 days, because now we have the M110s and the 2010s, which are like
And
beautiful
those,
rifles.
it's like talking another language.
Yeah, yeah, dude,
I
yeah.
don't know.
But looking at the dudes that had to go back, and like when you're learning all this stuff, and it's like the old optics back then were in mils, but the adjustments the actual reticle was in like MOA, but the adjustments were in mils. And for those of you listening, this is like corrections. These are basically what you zero your weapon and make adjustments at distance.
MOA
and that shit
stands
was
for
Minutes of angle.
minutes of angle,
Yep.
right? And then you have mil, which is mil radians. It's just units of degrees or units of measurement, if you will. So back then, when you're trying to like find your target and like measure it, you had to do math. You actually had to do math. But nowadays on our new guns, it's like, oh, okay, you make a mil call, and it's the reticle's in mil and the corrections are in mil. So you just be like 2 mils, and you go 2 mils. Back then it was like 3 MOAs conversion divided by
you really,
this.
it's,
So
yeah.
like a lot of respect for
Wow.
dudes that went through it back then, because I mean the army kind of didn't figure the shit out until like
and I don't know no difference. So.
yeah. I just do what they told
I
me,
just
man.
did what they told me. That
So
was
that's
it.
cool. So kudos to you, man, because it was
Yeah.
way harder. It's the actual saying, back in my day when it was hard. Back then it was actually hard. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's cool, man. Where did you find yourself deployed during your time?
So all my deployments were in Iraq. My first Iraq tour, I was just basic infantry rifleman. It was in the city of Samara, 2004, 2005, and then went into the Baghdad with the sniper section in 2006 to late 2007. We came back in like December 2000. It was a 15-month deployment on that one. Yeah, they extended us, man. I was like,
oh my god.
I actually it's funny because I decided not to take my R&R. I was gonna take it late so I can be like, come home, and it's only a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And then I signed on, re-enlisted, and they gave me a pass to Qatar. So I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna come back, and I got like a month left in country.
Yeah,
and everything's chill. No man, I came back to chaos, and then a 3-month extension on top of that. Like, what the hell?
What
is
a big
going on?
fuck you.
Yeah, it was rough.
What was your last deployment to Iraq?
My last deployment was with Triple Canopy, and that was 2011 to 2013.
Okay. Did you go in 2009? That was when I was in.
Yeah, I was there 2009 to 2010.
Oh, cool.
Outside of, I can't remember the town, Bakuba, I think it was, or Warhorse. I was at Warhorse.
Cop Wars, or no, not Cop Wars, but Fob Wars.
Yeah.
I was up in the north near Mosul.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were a little bit more north.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Damn, dude, you almost have more time in country than I had in active duty.
That's yeah, I have over like literally almost 6 years boots on ground.
Oh yeah, that's way more.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, I had like 4 months of deployment time because in
It's-
Ranger Regiment we only did 4-month deployments.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
it would be like you go there, it's very kinetic, very fast paced, and you come back, and then they would
In and
constantly
out.
cycle the 3 battalions. So it would be yearly deployments, but it would always have a regiment overseas or a battalion overseas. But dude, yeah, I could never do the year long. So I was like, shit, dude.
Yeah, it was like a year we got back, and then within a year redeployed.
And you people forget. You think about that for those that don't know. Like, you to get ready to deploy, there's a whole section of training.
Yes.
You got to check
So
the
you're-
box.
I
yeah.
was certified. And
Hardcore. You're training and stuff, and then you go, and then you come back, and then there's a time to gear down, and stuff. And so you're either. It seems like in the military, sometimes you're either getting ready to deploy, or you're coming back from a deployment, or you're deployed. You know what I mean?
Back when deployments were happening, nowadays it's just like train. It's gonna have the best trained soldiers in the world.
Yeah. Now nobody's
Most
going anywhere.
trained or best trained, you decide.
Yep.
But,
What do you, Richard? What do you think it is? You've been doing the gameology. Here you are. We're doing the pop culture kind of side of things. What do you think it is about snipers that like has the mystique and the awe and the fantasy behind it?
I would have to say from the guys, back in the days, when World War II, it was a sniper, when they're in the rubble in the cities, that urban environment, it's a sniper heaven. You know what I mean? It's just, it's and then you know who your enemy is because where the front line is, what their uniforms are wearing. So you know how to find them, And then you think of like Carlos Hathcock, and
the
Vietnam,
legends.
and he was legend. He shot a general in their own base and did all kinds of crazy things. And I think that's what led it. Because nowadays, I don't know, like for me, anyways, I felt like sniper was just a lot of sitting around and watching.
That's what people don't realize.
You really just don't even know. It's like a lot of time where it's just planning, preparation. You go out on your missions, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's just the way it is. You spend a lot of time just watching.
Yeah. A lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I mean, at least in like pop culture, they have editing where they can do cut scenes. They can cut from this to cut to the action, to cut to the
it's a
the
whole lot of
exfil.
action.
Yeah, they don't realize that you're literally sitting there trying to stay awake for hours and hours and hours, and it's like that's the stuff that people don't realize because they think it's all just you move. In 20 minutes, you move into a position, find your target just pops up. Yeah. He's right there. Take the shot, and it's like some big, firefight to get out of there. No, that is far. This is the furthest from the truth.
That's
maybe
not Call of Duty. Yeah,
maybe in a wet dream of a mission, but yeah,
it's a lot of bullshitting and switching on and off with your battle buddy, so he can watch scope for a while, and then you're relaxing, eating an MRE, and then getting back on the scope. Trade off.
It is a trade off, and I mean. Realistically, the human eye can only take so much tension.
Eye strain,
So when you're looking through an optic, and because obviously coming from a recon background, you're on glass for a while, and it's like those shifts can last anywhere from like 15 minutes to like an hour based on how many guys you have in your team, and you got to cycle those dudes out because if you're sitting there on glass, your eye literally becomes blurry, and it's like fuck, this hurts.
You get complacent. You stop tracking. You stop seeing what you're looking at.
Yeah,
so
you
it's
start
like
daydreaming.
You constantly have to switch dudes out. So it's like
gotta keep it fresh.
You gotta keep it fresh. And there's so many things about sniping that people like stalking. That's hard. Stalking's super fun.
Stalking is incredible, man.
It is.
That was one of my favorite parts in sniper school. Because you don't do too much stalking like urban. When I was in Iraq, it was a lot of urban environment stuff. But in the sniper school, it's really intense. It's a major test that you have to go through. And I could only imagine like in Vietnam with Carlos Hathcock, and they were real stalkers, like real hunters.
And stalking is you're actually stalking your prey, your target.
This is what you think of when you think of sniper, in a ghillie suit, moving slowly, stacking trees.
That's where you realize what life is like in 2 inches above the ground. Just dragging your face in the grass and the dirt,
and you're motionless.
Yes, it's crazy. And in sniper school, you know, you have blanks. And you have an objective, and there's a lot of the cadres are on like a truck, and they're watching with scopes, and they're just trying to look for snipers, movements, anything. So you're just getting to your objective. You got to get within a certain distance to take a shot. And so once you get set up, you go to take your shot. Well, when you pop your shot, they're watching through the scope to see if there's tossed salad, like the grass in front of you is moving or anything. And then they'll try walking the cadre on top of you. You have walkers. And so they'll be like, go to your right. You know, they're telling him. And the guy's like walking 2 steps to your left, you know, to see if you react too. Like if they're stepping on you. So you really have to just sit there and you're getting your face stepped on or your leg stepped on. And it's a fail if you move and they say sniper under your feet. You know what I mean? And it's a pretty fun game. It's an intense game. And then they hold up a letter or a number, and you got to read it. Yeah, because you know, they got to know that you can see and you have that line of fire.
So it's not like you're lying and you're like, I took
just taking a
nap.
Yeah,
you need to be in a clear line of sight to the target. And the walkers, all of my buddies that went to sniper school, I have not. But they always said that was the most stress-inducing thing ever because they're literally talking to the guy on the radio, and then I'm pretty sure, at least from what they told me, is they'll put the walker within a certain distance of you, and then you have to take another shot. So they are actually zoomed in on your area, and then after the second shot, then they're like, okay, now walk 2 steps to the left. All right, go,
And then they give like, a general direction. The walker will like kind of wave his arm like maybe 180 degrees of the direction, the area where you're at. So they're really looking on the glass and trying to see silhouette or see anything that draws them to
tree cancers, thing like that. Like you need. It's not just like you're in a ghillie suit and you lay down, you're invisible. It's like there's people that take shots standing up, and they just know how to basically look for keyholes in the nature. That's pretty much just a natural opening that they can stack things and vegetation in front of them that won't affect the trajectory of the round, but they're in a perfect position to where everything is blocked except for their line of sight.
Layers, all about the layers, because the eye can't get through those layers, you know, so it totally blurs out what's behind. But
your glass can. You can burn through vegetation with your glass, not the human eye. So that's just hearing stories about that jazzes me up, because when I was a little boy, some say I still am, but surrounded by these seasoned vets. But I wanted to be a sniper so bad. I remember I built my own ghillie suit when I was in like high school, and I would just like go and veg it up and do like a ghillie wash in like this old drainage pipe behind my house, and like like one time I remember I did a really good job that I like lost my ghillie suit because I vegged it up and like threw it out there and walked to the top of the hill to see if I could see it, and I was like, it's gone. I was like, I had to like get a rake and like.
Then you had to make a whole new ghillie suit.
Yeah. And you make your own. You have to make your own ghillie suit. You know?
Do you still have yours?
Oh no, I lost that thing a long time ago. I'm like, I'm done with this when I got sent somewhere else.
What do you make it out of?
Canvas and
jute. It's like netting, jute, and
so you have your basic BDU uniform. Your basic camo uniform, and what you do is like. You definitely got to cut out little sections out of the back and put some netting for ventilation. You use canvas, so you got to use the canvas for the ground part. So when you're dragging, you're not ripping up your pants and things like that. And then the jute, you get that in there. But when you make it, it's fresh. It looks like brand new, like out the box. You know what I mean? So what you have to do is go through a ghillie wash. But in military terms, like smoke session, rolling around in the mud and the water, and you get that natural dye to it.
You got to age it a little bit.
Yeah, it really works. Like it's crazy, and you're doing flutter kicks in mud and water, and it's crazy.
Richard? Do you have one of your proudest moments or something like that you can recall? Like, man, I'm a sniper, or like that was really good, or I did my job today, or something like that. Anything Kind of like that.
You know what? I felt like a big man on campus. My second tour. You know, me and my squad leader at the time, he was spotting for me, and we were overwatching because they were shooting at the base. You know, periodically to go by, shoot at the towers.
Okay.
So everybody knew they're getting shot at. You know, they're on that little section. So, you know, there goes me and my squad leader. We go and build a hide about 7 stories. It's an abandoned apartment building, and it was a great hide. I mean, I got a picture of that sucker.
Yeah.
It had a good angle, had the net over the window. It was a very small window because we were in a maintenance shaft.
Yeah.
And beautiful hide. And so we sat there for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, I think, just going through certain times and like pulling shifts. And finally they shot at the towers down below. And then sure enough, I see the guy on the rooftop, and my spotter tells me fire, you know, and I shot the guy, whatever. And like literally zoomed up when I shot him, like I seen him fall over, like he didn't know what hit him. And his toes, like this is how detailed, like you see things moving slowly. It's like his toes like crinked up, you know, like when you get a foot cramp. And then his sandals just flying through the air, and that's all I remember, you know.
Yeah.
He was just down, you know, he's gone. And then but anyways, when we were coming out, you know, because everybody heard the gunshot, you know, and we were already I'm walking around with my weapon, you know, in its bag and stuff. So when we were walking back to go get the debrief, you know, everybody's looking at us, and you know, I'm like, first kill of my, you know, first kill of the deployment, you know, and everybody's like, oh, there's sniper, you know.
The sniper.
Here it is, the sniper
so
mystique,
that was
man.
one time, you know, where ego, you know, got into my head a little bit. I walked around all proud for a little bit, but other than that, there's nothing. You can't be too proud when it comes to shooting other people, to be realistic. You know, but that moment, I felt like big man on campus.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what
what
the town hall. They're like, oh, you guys are the snipers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the time you're doing that, it's like that's your job.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody in the military, especially in the infantry, you know, we're almost structured to want to do our job. It's not like people join to be infantry to, like, you know, not go to war and whatnot, unless you know they just want to do it for the Dodge Charger. But
the deployment bonus.
the deployment. But you know, you want to go and do that, but then when you get out, you're like trying to reinstitute yourself into society, and you know, by societal norms, that's not okay.
Yeah,
it's hard to, you know, make that connection. I think that's why a lot of people struggle when they get out.
And that's good. That's good. In the normal span of events of a person's life, hopefully you will never be faced with a situation where you will have to kill somebody. But in war, that's kind of the deal. Like it's a force against a force, and that's you know.
And it's all with respect. I mean, if they got the gun up on me, you know, they're gonna take me out just the same. So I mean, it's fair game.
Yeah,
it's fair game.
It's a silent. I've said it before. It's a simple equation. Yeah, it's you or them. Yeah, you know, there's no hatred. There's no like animosity or anything like that. It's just what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just a job.
Yeah,
you know, I'm there fighting for my friends and honor and all those things. They're fighting for the same thing. So, you know, you got to respect
I mean, it's a respect of the warrior culture. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's been going on since the dawn of
Cain
humans.
killed Abel, man.
Cain and Abel.
Stuff.
Yeah.
If we were sword fighting, I don't think I would partake in that.
That's
I would have got stabbed with a sword.
The unknown sword sniper. If that's a thing. Throwing swords at each other.
Spear chuckers.
Spear chucking. Yeah, that's right. The ancient spear chuckers.
Yeah, the javelins. Of
the real literal javelins. Yeah.
Those were the snipers back then. So let's talk about movies then. Do you have any, you know, just off the top of your head, like sniper scenes in movies that you're just like...
You know what? I'm a big buff for Saving Private Ryan. I feel like that was like the most realistic movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then, you know, like even the follow-up kind of stuff to it. Because I had an obsession with World War II, you know, at that time. I read all the books and stuff.
Respectfully so.
And yeah, there's just a lot of fighting. I mean, you know, island landings and urban warfare, like every type of fight
they had it
was
all
there.
Yeah,
you know?
all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Desert, mountains,
crazy.
cities.
It's insane. So, you know, Saving Private Ryan, of course, I was big into the Band of Brothers series. You know, it was really big in my time. And that and Enemy at the Gates, you know.
Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah. I don't really watch too many movies now, and so I used to watch them, and then I'm like, this is, you know, it's hard for me to see the realism, you know.
Yeah.
And like Saving Private Ryan was a very realistic movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's that iconic scene in Saving Private Ryan where Jackson is like, you put me within 1,000 yards of Adolf Hitler, pack bags, boys, war's over.
Yep.
Like that type of sniper attitude is just why people glorify it.
The firefights too were like just intense, It's like the camera's moving all crazy, and it's just like puts you there, That's how I feel.
Yeah. That one, like that movie in particular, like for some reason, I don't know, it was very iconic. It was a seminal moment in cinema history because like that opening scene of the invasion of Normandy and stuff, I don't think anybody was like ready for that. You hear about like veterans and stuff at the time. They had to leave, they couldn't handle it because like it was intense, man. For like 15 minutes, of the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the movie,
Puts
like
you in it.
You're
and
like,
then you're in it.
Fuck. But I mean, that's good because that's what D-Day was all about. That's an intense moment. I mean, that's why I think World War II, the vets are the greatest generation of warfighters.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
hardcore
because they wanted to be there. That was like the one moment in all of U.S. history
where
everybody was on the same side. It's like, let's go and we're going to stick it to those freaking Nazis, man.
Yeah.
So like guys were lying about their age to sign up. And it's like, you don't see that anymore nowadays.
That's one thing I liked about Jack the sniper. Was that his name? Barry Pepper?
Jackson.
Jackson. Yeah. It was like, you talk about the attitude and stuff. He wasn't over there like yelling and saying, he was like quoting Bible scriptures. He was like very calm and stuff like that. He wasn't like this kind of bloodthirsty thing.
Soldier.
God. Yeah. He's like, and he would like, he slept soundly and stuff like that. He's like, why is he sleeping like that? A clear conscience, man. Like he was totally at ease with what he was doing, so which I thought was cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he met his doom to a Panzer.
He did.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, that scene in Saving Private Ryan on the tower, it was, for me, it's the most realistic because when you're in a firefight and you're a sniper, you don't have time to dial in or judge the distance and things like that. So when he's taking those shots and they're missing, what he's doing is seeing where it impacts and then he's trying to adjust from there, hot off the fly. It's Kentucky Windage. You're just winging it, and that is the most realistic in a heavy firefight back and forth. You're taking that shot and then you're following it up with the shot to adjust it, if need be.
Yeah.
No, it's totally going off that topic. I think one of the myths in pop culture is when, the snipers are sitting there and they're like dialing their windage and like, I mean, you can dial your elevation if you have time, but like when they're messing with the windage and everything, that's like totally false.
Yeah.
And like, I remember because when I was in regiment, one of my buddies, he came from the sniper section and he was our Carl Gustav gunner, and the actual snot dudes were attached to our weapon squad when we were deployed, and they would always crack jokes and be like, yeah, just dial for wind. And they would all crack up, and I never understood what that meant because they would crack up to be like, yeah, just dial for wind. And I was like, do you dial for wind? And you just hold it. And like, that's a lot of the thing. It's like, just like you said, you're just literally, you see where impact is, you adjust to it, you hold. And it's like, you don't have time, especially if you don't have like a laser rangefinder.
Exactly.
Like you have your dope, which is, your data on the gun. It's like 100 meters, it's this hold. At 200 meters, it's this hold.
And the thing about it is too, when you're shooting it, you're judging the wind. It's not necessarily gonna be accurate. You know, you're going to have accuracy, of course, but it could be off depending on your distance, just a little bit off. And then that's where you'd have to adjust. So, your reading of the wind is an estimate. It's not really like pinpoint. This is it,
Yeah.
Unless you got a lot of experience, and a lot of these guys got some crazy experience. But I mean, as far as me and then in combat and stuff like that, it's quick. And urban environment, very hard to judge wind just because the wind going in the alleyways, there's a lot of crosswinds and things.
That's the thing. Wind, because nowadays we have like kestrels, which are ballistic calculators in your hand, and they tell you everything, and they have a little wind dial that you hold up, and it can tell you the wind speed. But if you're shooting like distance, the wind, like, people don't realize is the wind where you are is completely different from where the wind at the target is.
Yeah.
So instead of reading the wind where you are, you actually have to use terrain or use like in the Call of Duty example, the flagpole. And you actually, there's no real, you have to guess how fast the wind. So if I'm sitting here and I'm looking and I'm trying to take like a 1,000-meter shot, I'm looking at like the grass, or if there's nothing out there and it's a hot day, you can use the mirage, the heat coming off the ground. It's called bubbling. So like if it's coming straight up, you're like, there's no wind.
Distortion.
But you can kind of see it go left or right, and you can read the wind.
And you want to judge that wind at the highest point of the trajectory of the round. You know, when it's at its highest arc is where the wind is going to affect it the most. So that's where you're really taking the time to look at that wind mid-range or whatever, so you can make that adjustment.
Yeah, so if the flagpole's like doing this, it's like, I think that's a 3 mile per hour wind.
And you learn, you just gather all this information up in your head. It's kind of something that you can easily recall in the moment, stuff like that.
Yeah, like now, like trying to think about things. Yeah, we had a, we practiced it. It was something that we did on a daily, just trying to read winds and do the adjustments. And it's all just fine tuning. Even judging the distance, just watching by the eye and judging distance by the eye is something you just practice. Same thing as target detection. We did a lot of Kim's games and things like that.
What's Kim? What's that?
Explain Kim's game. Yes. A lot of people don't know what Kim's game is.
Kim's game is basically like the guy that was like that came up with it is Rudyard Kipling or whatever. He wrote the Jungle Book.
Oh yeah, Rudyard Kipling, The Man Who Would Be King. Okay,
it's a memory system. So what they do is like get 10 items, random objects, and you stick them on the table. And then for us, they would make us walk around the table for about like 30 seconds or whatever. You walk around this table, try to remember all the items, what their size, their shape, their color, what they appear to be, what they might be, all of these things. You got to just think of these things. And then they take you outside and smoke the crap out of you for hours, and have you do all these movements and stress you out, to make you forget. And then next thing you know, they throw the paper in front of you and you got, 1 minute to fill out all the paper, the 10 objects, what they were. Yeah. And then you get graded on that. Yeah. And so, it's just about memorizing, getting better, and then going through the stress and then learning how to mentally like program it and keep those items in your mind. So even through stress and everything else, you'll still retain it.
Yeah. Another form of Kim's game is like all of my buddies that went through sniper school, they'd go on runs and then there would be like long whips hanging from trees, or there'd be like a compass like on the side of the road. Wow. And at the end, they would be like, all right, there was 10 items that were completely out of place on that run. What were they? And it'd be like, oh, well, there was a water jug sitting like hanging outside of a window.
Ours was just table.
Yeah. So, but like TD, like target detection is a big thing too. And same thing, you would get an area and then the cadre would go out. And I've done TD at like the guard, and we'd set up like this, hang an antenna off, like a gutter where it comes up like an inch. But if you're on glass and you're scanning, you're like, you see this little hard line go like this, just and you dial in on it and you're like, what the f*** is that? And you, on your little, basically you're drawing everything. You draw the area you're looking at and you put a little like 1 next to it and you circle it and you're like, out of place. And so you're
solid.
like,
dude, bringing back all these memories.
It's like we're still doing it to this day.
Yeah,
it's so, cool. It's so awesome to hear that, you guys played Kim's game, and it's been around forever and they still do it.
That's cool. It's cool to see the things that remain and the things that change and stuff, because you're talking about all this new technology and stuff that you use for like Windage and things like that, and yet you both are talking about the Kim's game. The
most basic things, those basic tools, like sector sketch, and then trying to find it out and doing the dot and the number. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Let me ask you this, Richard. So you've done the gameology and this kind of stuff. What give us something like that you like about what is good and bad about that there are snipers portrayed in pop culture? Like what's good about it and what's maybe not so good about it?
What's good about it is keeps the interest involved, and I think it just revives, brings out, the soldier, and because the soldier does need to be portrayed in a certain way and looked at, everybody wants to be the soldier and have that honor and that, that's like a manly thing, It's something about it. I don't know, like to me, I'm like that's the good thing. It just keeps it alive, keeps that fighting spirit in people. Yeah. And motivates a lot of soldiers even, to step it up and maybe try out the SF or Ranger Bat and things like that. What's
driving to be better. Trying to be better, accomplish goals.
A call to something greater than yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing that comes out of it. Mm-hmm. The bad is always like the you got to take things with a grain of salt. Like I think when we talk about like, oh, how many kills this guy has and how many that, it's like, we're not talking about shooting dogs. We're talking about shooting people. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 10 or 30 or 40, whatever. Still, there's no, you can't place a number. It's just, I was in a firefight. People are shooting at me. I'm shooting them. You know what I mean? There's nothing to walk around. And I think I've been around with a lot of guys that have been through a lot, even like 10 times more than me. And I've been through a lot, but I mean, these guys, and they will never talk about like, walk around all proud about, how many or whatever, because that's just not the true story. The story is their battle buddies side by side, and the bravery you see from everybody, just common soldier, you know what I mean? Like, we're here joking around, but in a combat zone, you be saving my life, or looking out for me, and that there's you can't put anything on that, you know what I mean? Like, so that's where I think it's like not about bragging so much as it's about, the spirit and the honor and the courage of just ordinary men, really, that going out there and everybody's fighting for each other,
Right. It's a respect. I mean, you see it in hunting, right? When you shoot the deer, it's respect to the animal. Yep. And I think it's like a very similar thing. It's like, even because you have to understand when like you mentioned earlier, it's two forces fighting together. It's warriors, right? There's a reason there's rules to war, because it's not just a free-for-all. It's like,
we're not animals.
We're not animals,
We're
right?
human beings.
We're human beings, and it's like, okay, if I best you, I still pay respect, even though you're fighting a force or the enemy. At the end of the day, it's like they're doing the same thing, like you said.
Yeah,
so it's a game of respect.
Yeah,
you got to respect the weapon. You got to respect the person. You got to, everything is just, this is my rifle, man.
Yeah. Let me get off. Let me kind of take it a different way though, because we're talking very philosophically and stuff, and I think people appreciate that. What's another piece of pop culture, like a movie or a book or a television show, that influenced you that wasn't necessarily, it could be military or firearms, but like, what's something else, All
right. In movies and pop culture, the bad part is a lot of the portrayal, especially when it comes to snipers, is like you don't see the hours behind it. It's not action packed as a sniper. You're not going in there and shooting all these guys, and that's just not realistic. And it's not just action packed. A lot of it is just long hours of nothing, And even when you're taking shots, it's not like you're taking out whole platoons of people, at a time, and there's all these guys, and this guy's just standing there, or whatever, in his ghillie suit. Yeah, that's the bad thing. That's where I have a hard time watching a lot of movies, is because it just it's too fake to me, I feel like. The motivation, ooh. I don't know, that's a good question, because what motivates me, I mean, like I said, when I take back to like the old guys, Saving Private Ryan, a band of brothers, that, I don't know, that just stuck in me, like the fighting and just, you want to, I don't know, just something about being a soldier that just motivates the hell out of me sometimes,
Yeah, dude.
Even now, I'm like, damn, I want to go back. See if I still got it.
So speaking of that, the fakeness in movies, then you would have you seen the original Sniper, 1993, with Billy Zane,
Tom
Berenger? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember hearing about it, and I might have seen parts of it, but to be honest, I don't recall any of it.
This is the ultimate Hollywood sniper movie. I remember I found like at the 99-cent store a copy when I was a kid, and I watched it, and it was literally my beloved treasure item that I kept close to my heart. Because this is one of the, when you think snipers in pop culture, this is like the movie that I think of, because, it's everything there. It's, a 2-man shooter sniper team behind enemy lines trying to take out a HVT, and they're like, they're taking the shot, and the new guy doesn't think he's the best in his class. And you got Tom Berenger's character in their Marine Scout snipers, I think, and he's like the salty guy. He's the old dude that's been doing this for years. He's a lifer. Experience. He's a lifer, and he gets this new guy that's supposed to be like the hot recruit, but he doesn't know if he could take a life. So he's like in the position, and he has to take it, but he can't. And he's just like, you gotta do it.
Pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah, I think it's very entertaining. But you would probably hate it just because it shows like the
Actually, I would be interested now the way you describe it.
No,
Good.
it's definitely a 1993 movie.
Yeah.
It's like super. It's like it almost has such a 80s feel to it.
Okay. Right.
But like they're in ghillie suits. They're going through the jungle. Like he lost his spotter because another enemy counter sniper, and he's going after. It's like it's everything that has to do with sniping.
I think I might have seen it a little bit. I think so. Now that you're reviving my memory here.
That one had a good lesson with because I remember Billy Zane's character. He's like an Olympic sniper, like he's a sport shooter that happened to join. Yeah, and they're on a mission. And he's on a helicopter, and there's like him, and then like the door gunner on like an M60, and there's a guy running, and the guy turns around and shoots at him, and Billy Zane's trying to get a bead on him, and he's got him in his scope, but he's not firing yet, and then like the gunner gets shot, and as the door gunner gets shot, he pulls back and he fires the trigger one more time and shoots, and he actually shoots the guy. But everybody thinks that Billy Zane shot the guy, and he made this amazing shot from a helicopter, and it was moving, and so he has this guilt on him the whole movie that like
he's a coward.
Yeah, he's a coward, but people think that he's this amazing sniper, that killed the dude from a helicopter. So it's about him. It's part of his journey is like him actually living up to, or like actually becoming like an actual like combat sniper,
getting that standard that everybody looks at him.
And not feeling like he's a faker or like a fraud or something like that. That's the thing. That's one of the things that I remember. And then of course the famous like Tom Berenger gets like captured, and he sees Billy Zane off in the distance about to take the shot, and there's like 2 targets that they have to get. He's like wait. 2 shot, or what is it? 1 shot, 2 kills, or something like that.
He's waiting for them to like collapse.
So
it's funny, but there's like an entire chain of these moves. There's like Sniper 1, 2, 3.
Sniper, they've become a little derivative. Sniper 5.
Watch the original, and it's I think that's in my opinion like the culmination of sniper movies that like portrayed in pop culture. That's it. It is. Dude.
What I love about you guys were talking about, I'm going to skip down to a video game just because I'm a big gamer fan. And you doing the gameology stuff. Have they ever had you look at Metal Gear Solid 3?
No.
Snake
never.
Eater. Okay, all right. That's the fun one because that takes place in the 60s, and the character is at one of the bosses. It's a sniper battle, and so most boss fights in video games is like big, huge, a lot of action and stuff like this. But this one, you're actually in a forest. And the forest is this huge area, and you cannot stand up and run around or you'll get shot because you're fighting a sniper. His name's called The End. And all you have to do, you have to actually, and the boss fight can take like an hour or 2 because you have to crawl around and you can't like move quickly and stuff, and you have to use like bushes and cover and stuff. And the only way you can detect him is you've got a little sound meter. And you can hear him breathing. Like, so you have to point in a different direction, you hear breathing, and then you have to crawl around, stuff like that.
That's creepy.
And then you fire him, and then he runs away and stuff like that. But it's all about camouflage and doing things like that.
Yeah, stalk.
Yeah,
stalking.
Yeah, it's a whole stalking
battle.
That's
like in that sniper movie too, when he finally comes to, because in the beginning of the movie, Tom Berenger's like spotter gets shot by this like, famous enemy sniper that's like been stalking them. And then in the movie, they like finally come together, and Tom Berenger's character like rigs a knife on a 550 cord to like kind of act like movement in this. So get him to shoot first, so we know where he is, and he's just like.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, dude. It's a good. I like that movie. I'd recommend that movie.
I'll have to check it out.
And the viewers. It's cheesy, but I like it. It's good, man.
Did you see American Sniper?
I don't
Chris
think
Kyle?
so. Yeah.
Chris Kyle?
Oh no, the Chris Kyle. I did see it. I did see some of it, and I might have watched the whole movie. I'm not sure. Like
What era was he in? Were you in when he was in, or was that a different era?
So I have kind of stories because he was in Ramadi in 2006.
Okay.
And our battalion our brigade had gotten split up. So just my battalion, our infantry battalion, got attached to the 82nd in Baghdad during the surge. So we were in Baghdad, but the rest of our sniper team was in Ramadi, and they had a lot of kills. It was a different kind of fight, when you're in Baghdad, they had a lot of snipers, a lot of deep buried bombs, and rarely they come out and fight. Really come out and fight. They were really really smart out there in,
Yeah.
in that sense. Whereas Ramadi, what I've heard is that, they would go and set up multiple like OPs in the buildings and then draw them out by like letting everybody know like, hey, I'm over here, and they would come out full force and try to beat them with numbers, and they were just coming out with large amount of numbers and firepower. So they were just getting hit by snipers left and right. So when I think about that, Chris Kyle, time, and not to take anything away from anybody great or anything, but it's the type of fight that you're in, if they're coming out and they're coming out and fighting full on scale, you're going to get a lot of those kills.
Yeah, it's a turkey shoot.
Yeah, it's a turkey shoot in that sense. Because like I said, our sniper team, they had a lot of kills just on their own. Like I think like 40, whatever, something like that. But they're like, they just come out and, and they were shooting it out with us, So it was just like taking it out,
Especially from a good hide.
That's the thing. They would go set up nice, pound out the loopholes in the walls, and then they would just have their fun basically. Whereas in Baghdad it took some time, and then when I got put into the JSS, think of, we put up a little outpost in the middle of a neighborhood that everybody hates you, just to piss them off. Like, we're gonna set this little outpost here, and so it was a defensive position, and we sat there, and they would come out there and attack it, and then I'd get to do my thing. But other than that, they wouldn't come out. You know what I mean? It was a lot of snipers and deep berries. They were doing really good, with those. So Ramadi is a different fight. Samara, when I was their rifleman, it was the same thing. I mean, they would come out fighting full force. So it was a lot of action, and of course, you're getting a lot of kills. That's how it just pans out to be.
Right.
So that was just my story about like the whole Ramadi thing. That I think it was just a different fight. So he did get a lot of kills because they were coming out.
That was the individual. That was the situation that he was in.
Yeah. It takes it down. It's really good, man. Like, honestly, the respect to him is like to just be composed and go out there and that's the thing. Under fire, when you're in a heavy firefight like that, just be composed and getting multiple targets and things like that is impressive.
Staying level-headed.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a skill in and of itself, that composure and stuff.
Yeah, just to take that shot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I've mentioned this in like some of our shift fires when we got asked that, what's the most realistic military movie?
Yeah.
I said Jarhead. Have you seen Jarhead?
No, never seen it. I am not. I haven't watched movies in quite some time.
So that's all right. We don't judge you. We don't judge you.
So Jarhead is about a Marine.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Good
plays,
performance. I didn't like the movie all that much.
I like the movie for the fact that we were talking about glorifying like snipers in pop culture, where he becomes a scout sniper and he's in a sniper spotter team in Desert Storm.
Yep.
And basically they're being told like they're going to do their job. They, the entire deployment, they're like, we're going to get in a fight, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
They're just sitting and doing nothing. And
doing stupid stuff, wasting time, stupid drills, stupid punishments or whatever.
Oh, let's wait for this ambulance to pass real quick. Yeah, it picks it up. It's nuts.
Damn.
Yeah, they're very sensitive. Good to go. Okay, and at the very end, they're like, finally we have, a mission for you guys, and they're on top of this wall and overlooking an airfield, and they're like, our job's to basically HVT this general or this high-ranking officer, and they got clear shot of him, and like they're finally gonna do what they've been training and waiting months to do, and then it literally at the very end gets kinked, and they're like, okay, they're like RTB or what the war's over or something.
Not at that point. They say, no, guys, don't take the shot. We've decided to like just carpet bomb the entire base.
Yeah, they're like, instead of,
and he's like, let me take the shot because you're gonna blow up the base anyway, and they're like, no, return to base.
Yeah, and it's like you're sitting there, you're in country, you're doing nothing, you're constantly being told, we're gonna fight, and then at the very end, they're like, and then he like has a mental breakdown.
That's the whole movie. That's what really happened.
That's why I think it's one of the most realistic, even though and the camaraderie's there, like all the Marines are making fun of each other, and it has all elements of like there's a dude whose wife is cheating on him. And
dude, that scene.
That's the real stuff.
Yeah, it goes in. It's not like glorifying war. It's like war. A lot of the times, I mean, you've seen dudes that even have gotten deployed multiple times and have never gotten into a firefight. Have never had to shoot their weapon. Like me, or is he?
Yeah.
It's like we've shot a ton of mortars and whatnot, but like, goddamn, few and far between you get. It's like, man, it's like you need right place, right time,
and that's
right conflict.
Yeah,
right?
that's a real story because that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my third tour, I don't think I fired one round in my third tour.
Yeah,
You
and
know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
man, it's
Nothing.
right
It was just
place,
quiet
right.
as hell.
At least I say right place, right time.
Yeah.
But like sometimes some would say wrong place, wrong time. But when you're in, it's like all you want to do is literally do your job,
Yes.
and people go crazy, and it's like, man, it was so weird showing up to Ranger Regiment and like people would have deployment patches but no CIBs, and you're like, I thought Ranger Regiment was supposed to be direct action. It's like, yeah, we are, but nothing's fun. Nobody wants
There's no
to
action
fight.
to be directed.
Yeah, and we would all have like kind of sourpuss attitudes towards the other battalions because like 275 would always go Octoberish, so winter. And like winter in Afghanistan is like everybody's hiding in their holes and nobody comes out. And like 175 and 375 would go during summer, which is fighting season. So like they're all coming out to play, so we would all be really salty and
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be super interesting. It'd be like some multiple deployments go by and no CIBs, and like sometimes RPG got shot at your exfil. When you're exfilling and everybody on board got a CIB.
You're like, I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. Fire back. And everyone's just shooting in a random direction just to
Get our
the
CIBs, yeah.
Yeah, and I got my CIB just from shooting mortar systems, and
Right.
like I didn't expect that to happen. So
Damn.
it's crazy, but
Yeah, it took a while. Like my first tour, that's funny you say that. Like when I got in the country, everybody's like, "Man, I want to get my first kill." Or then you get those guys that already had their firefights and their CIBs already, and they're just like telling you like, "Oh, you're a cherry," looking at you, and you're like, "Damn, I want my turn. I just haven't had the luck."
the opportunity.
I haven't
And
had
it's
the
not,
luck yet.
it's not like you can decide. It's not like you can just go out and pick a fight.
Yeah,
It's like you have to wait for multiple levels and be like, okay.
You can be trying really hard and
Yeah.
nothing happens, but yeah.
Man. And for those of you that are listening, a CIB is a combat action or combat infantry badge.
Yeah.
And that's specific to infantry. So you've been in combat, you've been decisively engaged and have returned fire, and that's the criteria for that award. If you're not in infantry, it's called a CAB, combat action badge. So if you take like incoming fire or something, but just some background on that. But
Well, Richard, I feel like we could talk all day, which is a good sign, but we must continue to move on. We'll do a little. I got a fun little game for you, but let's do a little fan email. Question.
Every episode we answer.
All right.
We
Like
encourage
this.
the listeners to send us
Yeah.
questions and whatnot. Some of them great, some
From
of them
their
not
cars.
so great. Yeah. While listening in their cars, while driving, we encourage that.
Well,
Awesome.
you got to text and drive. It's very safe.
Thanks for those mails.
Yeah.
Literally. So we answer an episode now. So this episode, you want to go, Izzy?
Yeah, man, I got you. This is from Music Confusion 99. Sent us an email asking. I'll actually. The question is, what's your guys' favorite video game theme music? He says mine would be Max Payne. Why don't we all go around and give one inspirational or our favorite theme from a movie or video game?
Yeah, and
just
he
one.
also says movie
Oh, okay.
or television.
I added
so.
that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because that's
perfect.
literally the question. I'm
'Cause,
like, well,
man.
maybe we can expand a little bit.
All right.
Not to take anything away from you, Music Confusion 99.
Yeah, this is like such an Izzy question too, because I don't know.
Well, the thing with me, the thing with music and stuff like that is like when it comes to themes and stuff, like I love like there's so many iconic themes. I watched way too much TV and way too many movies, played way too many video games growing up. I'm a big nerd, and so I attach these things to moments in my life, like the theme from Superman, the theme from Aliens, the theme from Lord of the Rings. So anyway, go ahead, you go first. Rich.
No, I mean I don't know exactly what movie, but it's the classic Western.
Oh, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
The good.
Yeah, the good, yeah. That's The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, there you go.
Good one.
See,
That
it's so iconic.
yeah.
You don't even know where it's from, but you know it. You know,
the tumbleweed. I can just picture the tumbleweed.
Yeah.
It's
Got a piece of hay in his mouth.
that's Ennio Morricone, right? He did a lot of those spaghetti western themes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Good
Izzy,
one.
I need more time. What's
That's
yours?
okay. I mean, what was I'm trying to think about like what was I thinking about like just like last night? Because there'll be like moments. I have a soundtrack to my life, and there'll be periods of time in my life that I'll associate one song or a couple songs with, But I really like. Oh geez, what was it? Oh man, I just forgot it. I just forgot it. like the Dune soundtrack from last year, like really hit me very hard. You know, like I've been listening to that lately. The new Dune one by Denis Villeneuve, which was awesome. It's like so like epic and big. Everything is epic and big in that movie. You know, this is, if you're looking at YouTube, this is the physical representation of that soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's
Tune into
like,
YouTube to see Izzy flail his arm.
yeah, but I mean, I got like, you know, I got Superman, I got aliens in my head right now. I got the music, not actual aliens in my head. So.
That's good. That's good. You know, a lot of people can probably guess and just think of any Lord of the Rings soundtrack. I love the Uruk-hai theme in Lord of the Rings, just like their marching song. Dun, 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 dun,
Yep.
dun. That's like. Sometime last 12 Mile I did with the National Guard, I literally put that song on in my headphones on repeat and listened to it for 2 hours.
Damn.
Because I got a 205.
No bragging, right?
No bragging allowed on this 205 12 Mile. But
Nice.
if I had to think of another one that's less basic, in previous episodes of this podcast, the 28 Days Later theme song was in the house. Yeah, that one is, I don't know, it's so climactic and it's so like, I love hardcore metal music. So things with deep chugs in it, things that like make you kind of like uncomfortable songs, I love those. So
Nice.
like the 28 Days Later, it kind of pumps me up when I hear it. It's very cool. It's kind of like, okay, shit's about to hit the fan. What the f am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get you going.
I like me some good screamo too.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
It has its place in our life.
It's
does.
weird. You
Yeah.
know, there was a study. So, the most unscientifically supported statement ever, because I cannot cite any references for you guys. But I heard that there's a study that was conducted about metal music, and it said metal fans, people who listen to really heavy metal, are more in tune with their emotions because metal music brings out anger and they can deal with their emotions easier.
Whereas another person might
someone-
just suppress it.
Because people that don't, you know, because metal music is very emotional.
Yeah.
When I listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, let's crush. And it's like, it brings out a lot of emotion in you. So it's like, okay, people that listen to metal music can cope with anger and depression easier because they're more used to experiencing it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, when I did during my first deployment, we were going on a major mission, retake the city. And I listened to Delirium Trigger by Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a good one.
Yeah.
That got me ready.
Yeah, that got me super ready. Nothing like, you know, streamlining some pre-workout and listening to some heavy chugs.
Pretty much, yeah. I can't say that I haven't taken pre-workout before an actual mission. Because I'm like, going to be standing up, I'm going to be on my feet all day for the next day. It's kind of like a workout.
It's kind of like
I'm wearing weight, you know, stuff carrying on.
Yeah, dude. Okay.
All right.
Game time.
Yeah.
Game time.
We usually tack a game on here afterwards. So this one's for you, Richard. This one's actually pretty quick, just because it was late at night and I wanted to get a game and I wanted to go to bed. But
be honest, you wanted to play Apex and you were done making this outline. So.
Pretty much. That's pretty much the truth.
So we just
actually.
slap this.
So basically all this is I just want you to, I'm going to give some like famous kind of idioms or sayings, you know, things you've heard like in your life, you know, like a bird in the hand is worth two in the...
Damn.
Oh.
I don't think that's the end of that. I
A
haven't
bird
heard
in the
that
hand is
one.
worth two in the bush, or, you know, a stitch in time saves nine. These little like
this is
sayings that we have.
interesting. All right. I don't know
But,
how good I'm going to be on this game.
Well, here's the thing. All of them, each of the word that I want you to say has something to do with like shooting or marksmanship or sniping. You know?
Okay. All right.
So,
That's creative.
yeah.
To be honest, this game was completely designed to embarrass you.
Yeah, this is
It
really-
seems like all these games
I'm here to
are-
knock you down a few pegs and teach you some humility.
Okay, man.
Do push-ups.
Yes, 10 push-ups for every wrong answer. Yeah. All right, so let's try this first. It's 10 to probably go pretty quick. So,
All right.
bite the.
Dust.
Oh, that's it. That's pretty good.
That is good.
That's not actually bite the bullet. You know, bite the bullet.
Yeah, okay.
You gotta get it. You gotta bite the bullet on this
Fail.
one.
10
Yeah,
push-ups.
that's all
No,
right.
you're good.
Okay.
I'll say Izzy do push-ups for that one because that's a lot of different
You're right
meanings.
because there were multiple answers.
Yeah.
I didn't even bite the dust. Another one bite the dust. Oh,
It's a good
okay.
game.
Hit the nail on the.
Head.
There you go.
Boom. Done.
Hit me
Wow.
with your best.
Shot.
There you go.
Okay.
Hindsight is.
2020.
There you go.
I've never heard of that one. See,
Okay.
I read
Hindsight-
that
I'm on
one.
a good one.
You know what that is, right?
Hindsight is 2020. No,
It's like-
I've never heard that before.
You may not understand something or do something right in the moment, but if you look back and you rethink it, you're like, oh, I get it now. I understand
So
what
like
was
Captain Hindsight.
Captain Hindsight.
But why is it
Exactly.
2020?
Is you see it clearly.
Clear. Oh.
Yeah, you see
Ooh,
more.
nice.
Yeah.
2020
I like that
vision.
breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
like that.
You're a sight for sore
Eyes.
There you go. Yeah, good one. All good things come to those who
wait.
There you go. A lot of waiting in the sniper.
Patience is a virtue.
You can run, but you can't
hide.
There you go. You got to stick to your
guns.
There you go.
Damn, I'm good at this game.
See, now you're in the rhythm, man. Home on the range. There you go, the range. Man. And that guy's a loose
cannon.
There you go. Yeah, you got to see the one so bad. After the first one, you got into your rhythm. There you go.
Dang.
So you got bullet, head, shot, 20/20, eyes, weight, hide, guns, range, cannon. So cannon was a little tacked on there.
Yeah, that was good.
Ye old sniper.
Yeah, that's right. The old snipers. The cannon snipers.
Well, awesome, man.
Good job, Richard.
Honestly, yeah, I read this and I was like, I don't know how he's going to do this. But you did fucking badass, dude. Good job.
I didn't think I was going to do good at all.
That was good, man. Good job, Richard. Well, Richard, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, man. Thank you for making the drive out. I know it was a bit of a drive, but I appreciate you coming out, man. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Man, I love you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll have to have you back on another episode if you're down.
Yeah,
but just for reiteration, where can the folks find you if they want to get at it?
Make sure you guys check me out, Richard_Romes82. And look forward to maybe seeing you guys on the next one.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, Richard.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in this episode of the Pop Culture Field Menu Podcast. You know the drill. We've been doing this for almost a year, actually.
Almost.
If you want to get a hold of us, send us an email at pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us on our Instagram page, pcfmpodcast. You can get a hold of me if you want to hang out with me. I stream a couple days a week, twitch.tv/myhappyself. Cameron?
Absolutely. If you guys want to get a hold of myself, Cameron Cfath on Instagram, or if you want, I forgot it for a second because
I'm on Instagram too. My happy self too. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, man. Or you can check out my streetwear brand, Kick God Apparel, on Instagram or our website, www.kickgodapparel.com. If you guys want to support the podcast, you can actually, if you're feeling froggy, donate on Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah,
all your coffees are appreciated. Thank you. Big thank you to all the folks that have bought us coffees so far. You've helped fund new equipment. You've helped put us on a little bit more of a stream.
Yep.
So big thank yous to that. So if you want to support the channel, again, Buy Me a Coffee.
Oh, and Shift Fire, guys. We started at the beginning. Shift Fire is our YouTube channel that we started with the Jelly Smack people, the people from Gameology. So Shift Fire, all things exploration and appreciation of military culture. We got a lot of good stuff there. Shift Fire on YouTube as well. You've probably left already. You're driving home. You're out of your car. You're walking away from the radio now. Because everyone listens still on this on the radio as well.
Exactly. And cue music.